In one of the previous videos in this Drawing with Accuracy section of the course, we looked at a setting called Polar Snap, and that exposed us to the snap settings within AutoCAD itself. Now you do have two settings that you can utilize that involve snap. And we're not talking object snaps like endpoint and midpoint here. We're talking about an actual snap setting where you snap to a grid in the AutoCAD DWG file. So a quick bit of admin first before we get started. You'll notice I've got the Drawing with Accuracy Grid Snap Complete drawing open, and I will save that so that you've got a completed version ready to look at. And also you want to be using the Drawing with Accuracy gridsnap.dwg file from your lynda.com exercise files. That will be the blank drawing that you can use to follow along with the video. So let's have a look now at how grid and snap work. What we'll do first of all, nip up to the Home tab on the ribbon, go to the Layers panel, and as usual, just make sure that we've got the object layer as the current layer. It's that nice green color again, as per the previous videos in this section. And what we're going to do is we're going to switch on snap and grid, but we're also going to switch off polar, snap tracking, and object snap. So they're all down here. So there's your object snaps there. Switch that off by clicking on it. There's your object snap tracking. We'll switch that off by clicking on it. And the polar, we'll switch that off as well. So they're all off. And then what we're going to do, our snap and grid settings are here. So you can see grid mode and snap mode. So click on the little fly out there and go to snap settings. This will bring up that same drafting settings dialog box. So you'll notice that we need to switch the snap on, like we did when we used polar snap down here. We're also going to switch on the grid this time though as well. And the snap X spacing and Y spacing, I'm going to highlight that and set that to 1. And if you just press tab, it automatically updates the Y spacing as well. Do the same for the grid spacing. So we'll go in there, 1, tab, and update that as well. And it says you've got a major line every 5. So basically every increment of 5, there'll be a slightly different color line on the grid. Now I'm going to click on OK, like so, and set all of that on. Now the grid itself, you can just about see it. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click here and go to Options. And a little trick that I'm going to show you in the Options dialog box. Now this is a big dialog box, by the way. I'm going to go to the Display tab and go to Colors, like so. And what I'm going to do with the colors here, again, another big dialog box, is I'm just going to go to 2D Model Space, Uniform Background. There's the default color there, 33, 40, 48. I'm going to change that to white so that you can see the grid. As you can see, look, the little preview there, you can see the grid. If I apply and close that now, and then click on OK, like so, there's my grid. You can see my grid nice and neatly there, all set to increments of 1. Now I'm going to zoom in there, and you'll notice we haven't got much of a grid. That's because our limits have been set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the limits by typing the word limits on the dynamic input. And you can see there, reset model space limits. I'm going to go from 0, 0, like that, and press enter. And then we're going to specify an upper right corner, and we're going to go for a bigger size. So I'm going to go for 100, 100, like that, and press enter. Now, as soon as I do that, I've made my grid limits bigger. That's using that limits command. So if I zoom out a bit now, you can see I've got a much bigger set of limits. Now, these are the 5 incremental lines. If I zoom in and get closer, you can see, look, there's my 1 increment squares there. Now this is the grid. Now the lovely thing about this is because the grid and the snap are set to the same values now, I can snap to every single corner on every single square on that grid. So if I now go up to the line command and start drawing a shape, so if I want to draw, let's say, a square, can you see I can just snap to the grid like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a square, take it across 2 notches like that, and take it down and across like so, and then up again. And you'll notice there, if I just press enter now, I've got a little green square. Can you see it there? Now again, on that background, that green doesn't stand out as well. So all we've got to do is go to our layers, utilize the tools that you have available, and we'll click on the color for object, and we'll change that to, say, a nice red color. If I OK that now, you can see now that it stands out nicely on the white background. It's amazing what you can do with a slight change of colors in AutoCAD. And then what we'll do now is we'll draw some more squares. So I'll go back to the line command and I'll draw another square like this. And I can start creating an organizational flowchart like this. And then I'll do another one. So I'll press enter, right click, repeat the line command, do another one here. And as you can see, I can start developing my little flowchart like that. Enter again to finish the line command. And I'll right click, repeat the line again. And as you can see, I can just drop these in, enter again to finish the line command, right click, repeat line. And I'm just drawing across, and I'm just using the grid and the snap settings. I'm not actually using anything else at all. So if I zoom out a little bit now, you can see my nice little squares there are forming the first part of my organizational flowchart. So all I've got to do now is draw some more lines. So I'll draw another line, snap to there, bring that down 2 squares, enter to confirm, right click, repeat line, and again just keep bringing all these little lines down like so, and I can just keep drawing. I can just use the mouse all the time using the right hand shortcut menu. So I'll bring that down there, and you can see I've got some lines there. Now what I might do now is do another line and take that along here like so, take that to say there, and then right click and enter to finish. Now I might want to draw a circle that joins that line there. So I'll zoom in a bit, just do a circle now and do a center radius, and that circle will go from say here. And again, I'm snapping. I don't need to put in any distances. And there's my little organizational flowchart all set up and ready to go, purely using snap and grid. Now the good thing is, if I now just switch those off, so if I switch off snap to grid and I switch off the grid itself, there's my lovely little flowchart, all neat and tidy and regular, because I've used those 1 unit squares to space everything out neatly and tidily. So that's how you use your grid and your snap in AutoCAD. Again, practice, practice, practice in preparation for your AutoCAD professional certification exam.